Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HackFS 2024 Filecoin Foundation Workshop, FVM Intro, Build an AI Dataset Marketplace. Joining us today is Jenks Guo, who will be taking us through this session. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jenks to get the session started.
Hello, hackers. Welcome to HackFS. My name is Jenks. I'm a developer advocate for Filecoin Foundation. I'm here representing the Filecoin price tracks, giving you a presentation on building on FVM. I do have apologies upfront. I was supposed to finish a demo app and present it here how I have done it. But like many hackathons, I've run into some issues with the new front-end framework, Next.js. That is new to me, so I didn't get to finish that. However, I do intend to complete that and during the hackathon duration and share the code with hackers so everyone can learn from it. Now, without further ado, here's a little bit of intro of FVM and Filecoin's mission in general. I want to start by talking about centralization of the web and why it's important to leading up to the AI development and how Filecoin can help solve this problem in this specific area. The original design of the internet is not centralized. It is a group of connected network of computers. However, over the last kind of 10 years time, we have seen centralization of content essentially being shared on the network. So a bunch of companies that has a lot more content stored, and because of that, a lot of people sort of consume content and send content over to popular platforms, and also cloud computing companies accumulate these resources together. What it has done is actually reshaped the internet infrastructure so that infrastructure is suitable for the consumption behavior. As more people use these platforms, the internet is designed more and more for centralized providers. To break this, it's quite hard. And with AI growing at a really high speed, what we see is the rise of the importance of data. And with data centralizing in platforms, we're seeing AI unavoidably facing this fate or going down the same path. When it comes to AI training and quality of AI, data is very important. Researchers and developers know that it is important to track where the data came from, know how it's stored, and who can access them for what purposes. And all of this lead up to how AI models can leverage this data. So the quality of the data will actually determine the quality of AI. So the expression of garbage in and garbage out perfectly describes this. Interplanetary file system is a peer-to-peer file system that is created by Protocol Labs. What it has done is it intends to reverse the centralization progress of the internet that we observe today by making a peer-to-peer hypermedia transfer protocol, interplanetary file system, and allow content address schema and ways of routing information. The user ended up owning the content, or the nodes that serves the network ended up owning the content, and allow the content to be distributed. The important piece of technology is content ID. On IPFS network, there is no address-based schema that encourages centralization, so everyone's not looking at a single origin for their files. Instead, anyone can host those files with indefinite copies of them, and they all work as one because the content ID essentially is the fingerprint of the file that is recognized network wide. So putting a file on your computer or mine is essentially the same thing. The network will be able to route the retrieval request to the whoever is nearest. with the same file. So this provides primitives to sharing file. But interplanetary file system does not really guarantee that your file is up. It's based on people's contribution of resources to keep files up. So to solve this problem, Filecoin was created also by Protocol Labs to encourage real infrastructure building for decentralized network and specifically verifiable and content addressable storage system built on top of IPFS. So you can think of Filecoin network as a decentralized data centers or people with hardware resources to provide peer-to-peer resources to consumers that might be in need. The benefit of this is you can work with really local providers for providing the same services that you might get from centralized cloud, for example. This breaks the reliance on the centralized platforms and allow more transparency in where data is stored, who's storing them, and uses cryptographic proofs to secure the file instead of relying trust of single entity. There are over 2,600 storage providers around the world across 40 different countries. This is a map of it, of some of the locations. Not only there are infrastructure providers in Filecoin ecosystem, we also have a lot of developers and founders building on top of it. This hackathon is proof of part of it. And we also have quite a bit of Orbit ambassadors in different countries that are running and evangelizing the concept of decentralized storage and Filecoin in particular. I had the fortune of visiting some of the sites in different parts of the world. And as you can see, many of them opt to have a professional data center to host their bare metal infrastructure for Filecoin. They are quite in very secure locations in the world. And you can run them out of your garage, but because of the requirements that we have put on the network and the enterprise kind of service focused, it probably makes sense to put it in a professional data center. So someone could rent a rack or a few racks in a local data center, purchase some enterprise grade commercial hardware, and start running Filecoin storage, providing business on top of it. It is designed this way so that you can use general computing equipments instead of specialized hardware for securing the network. It is truly a permissionless network with probably the hardware performance and also the amount of staking required as a barrier of entry. But anyone can come and join the network with enough collateral and hardware commitment and meeting the performance to get rewards. And when you're done with it, you can leave the network as you wish. So only if you have like a permissionless network that allows people come in and out and a vibrant economy to support it, the network can last a lot longer because we intend to permanently store humanity's information and provide a more resilient system than centralized clouds. The network has 6.4 exabyte of total storage power. There are 130 million NFTs stored on Filecoin through a service called NFT.storage. And we're onboarding data on petabytes per day. It is a test of how much volume that Filecoin network can handle, and the system is designed to onboard a really large amount of data. If you would like to see some of the data sets, we have a site that includes a sample of some of these open data sets called Dataset Explorer. In there, I want to point out that there's a few ways to retrieve these files, either via Boost, Lassie, or Lotus. Filecoin did onboard a lot of public data sets. However, to ensure the retrievability, there needs to be a lot of collaboration from different parties. And this is a project done by Decent, based in Holland. They're hosting some publicly available data sets for you to download. If you're working with data sets in this project and would like to get some sample, this is the site to get it from, and there's a few ways to retrieve it. Ultimately, what do customers pay for is provability of the storage for Filecoin. In a decentralized network, it's important, decentralized and open network, it's important to prove that the files is being stored by a trusted party, and that party will not forfeit its kind of agreement with the client. How do you do that openly, but also keeping things private as well? What we do this by asking the storage providers to provide proofs to blockchain network. So two kinds of proofs that we have on the network is proof of replication, which means once a file is being uploaded to a storage server or a storage provider, it goes through a process called sealing, which is a sequential operation to generate encoding of the data for each storage provider, a replica of the client's content. It generates a proof that it is uniquely stored with that storage provider, and that the copy is exactly the same as what the client has generated. And this is using content ID system to ensure that the data did not mutate. On an ongoing basis, a proof of space-time, which is somewhat in between of proof of work and proof of storage, needs to be submitted by the storage provider that holds that file and is fulfilling a storage deal. It is randomly selected challenge to read a piece of fragment of the data, and it is compressed into a proof using ZK Snark and uploaded to the network. Once it's being verified by other nodes in the network, then the reward is unlocked to the specific storage provider for fulfilling a useful economic behavior. So this is how we make sure, openly make sure that client's data is securely stored on storage provider's device. So with this in mind, the importance of data, Filecoin's unique advantage for ML or AI value proposition is that we can offer transparency. So who is storing what data, provenance, which means who is who is able to prove that the data is securely stored, and that person is uniquely holding the data. That is authentication of the data. Filecoin does have scale to handle large amount of data, because we're talking about quite a bit of data when it comes to AI training and also running AI networks or inference of models, as these models quite often requires to recalibrate and self-learn. So for example, a self-driving car can generate about 1.4 terabytes of data every hour, and they all need to go somewhere. We can provide the trust in proof of storage by using proof of storage, and with more data points, with more sites to choose to store from, we can provide more resilience to the data. So introducing Filecoin Virtual Machine, the Filecoin network was made for making storage deals and storing things like proof of storage and allow people to transact. It is not initially made for general programming. However, Filecoin Virtual Machine delivered last April, gives developers the ability to program on-chain. You can think of it as the layer one of Filecoin. We call a Filecoin layer 0 before. It really so to be able to write something that is able to programmatically interact with, for example, an account or the storage market, it is now as simple as deploying a Solidity contract to EVM-enabled Filecoin virtual machine. And we hope that on top of that, layer twos can be created to solve different kind of solutions. So, for example, lending and leasing of Filecoin really helped to fill the storage provider's initial capital problem and allow token holders to provide these kind of funding to storage providers to expand the network. How files are stored on Filecoin specifically. So there are storage providers that in general runs a interface to the market called Boost. Boost is a piece of software that allows using UI or some kind of automation to accept deals or reject deals. The storage provider is completely in control of this process. Traditionally, to make a file storage deal, the client needs to first put some funds in an escrow account in the storage market actor on the chain, and then package this file to a car file, which is a bundle of a content addressable file that allows easy retrieval as well. Then the client needs to send the storage deal proposal to the network, which is picked up by Boost. Now, Boost checks the client has enough funds to pay for the storing files and accepts the deal, and then downloads the car file from the client's web server. Client needs to make that available and download over the wire or physically transfer to the storage location if it's a large amount of data. Then we have a storage deal. The deal then gets published by the storage provider by Boost, and then upon checking by the network, they will unlock rewards for that. If they do a good job, they keep getting the rewards. If they did a bad job keeping the files or go offline, then there is heavy slashing mechanism to make sure they get hurt for doing bad behavior in the economy. Where FVM comes in is FVM automates the deal making process. The file package, the client still has to package the data to car file, upload to web hosting server, but FVM using a deal client Solidity library, a Solidity contract that the FVM team has made, automates large parts of it. All you have to do is to package the file to car and then put in the parameters that you want for the deal, which includes like how many copies do you want and would you like to send it to a specific storage provider for that. So a lot of people has high expectation of what FVM can do, but really essentially what FVM, the core part of it is to automate this part. And then, of course, run EVM on Filecoin chain. I'd like to introduce you some developer tooling. So one of the things that you can use in your like hackers and developers are generally in a rush to get their project done. And here are some handy tools to interface with Filecoin really easily. What I have just described of manual way of making a deal and also using FVM to make a storage deal could take a lot of effort. However, Lighthouse and Web3 storage makes the on-ramp of data really easily. You can upload your file to them via API or their SDKs, and then they will take care of the deal-making process for you behind the scenes. Now, with Lighthouse, they also made FVM deal-making APIs and SDKs so that it turns the interaction with FVM actors, market actors into a single API service. Now, doing this also means that you're bound by these centralized services as gateways to access Filecoin, but it is very convenient for a hackathon project. If you would like to do some innovation on top of FVM directly, there are Filecoin Solidity library that you can use with different primitives that you can use. Now, I highly recommend to check out some of the examples that my colleagues have made on FVM for Foundry and Hardhat to reduce your development effort. For cross-chain and Oracle, we have following partners that has solutions for. Stellar and XLR offers cross-chain, essentially wrapped coins for wrapped assets for Filecoin. There are a few quite available, so you don't have to make them. And both of them supports testnet testing. We also have Teller that is providing Oracle services and also supports Filecoin testnet. There's a video that Matt has made to show people how that's done on FVM. And a lot of database is always a very hard thing to work with. Building an application, most of the Web3 developers try to avoid using centralized databases. But because sometimes putting information on chain is very expensive or very hard to do so. So sometimes you need to rely on databases. These are two decentralized versions of databases that you can rely on. For Tableland, they have off-chain relational database, but uses smart contract to create these databases, and you can use it for access control, and you can even transfer the ownership of a table. It's quite innovative. And for decentralized peer-to-peer database, I recommend OrbitDB. So I did not finish the coding for this tutorial, but I will do. But for now, I'll share how I would like to build it. The data marketplaces, which is essentially just listing all of the their metadata of it, and put it on the marketplace for people to purchase. I think a lot of people had the idea of putting valuable data sets on a marketplace, like what Ocean Protocol does, and then have a one-time purchase of these data. While that might work simply, but I think a lot of clients or people who owns the data do not want to just get people to download these data, because once it's been sold, you don't know where it's going to be. But a simple version could be that you use a front end to collect display the deal listing, the dataset listing information, potentially put it into a centralized database or Tableland or OrbitDB, and use the storage on-ramp to onboard the data that data owner has within the storage on-ramp, or you can use a third party for it. You can keep the encryption key of the file, the CID, and have some kind of access control over it. Then the data will be made available on IPFS and Filecoin storage provider through the help of FVM. When it's up to retrieval, it will be coming from IPFS, or you can use Filecoin's tools to retrieve it. Alternatively, you can also keep the data stored and encrypted on IPFS, but use a compute network to sell the usage of running queries on these data. So it might not be as private as trusted computing or FHE, but this is a way to kind of keep the file origin separate from the client, from the data consumers. So perhaps what it looks like is the data gets uploaded and stored on IPFS, and the encryption key and CID gets shared with the compute provider. When a data consumer comes with a certain query, for example, I want to know how many people with this disease is in the city, they can write queries based on the metadata provided by the dataset owner. And then have that executed on a decentralized compute network, such as LilyPad or CorePive. and then output the result back to the data consumer. Oh, finally, I would like to explain the price structure really quickly. So for this time, we have 3 grand prizes for first place and second place and third place. You can use any type of Filecoin technology, but we do have a minimum requirements of uploading data to at least data on-ramp services or interacting with some of our core technologies, such as the node technology, FVM, or IPC. IPC is valid for Filecoin prices as well. So we do want to encourage specific categories of prizes. One of them being building dApps, data dApps, specifically any kind of decentralized applications that helps data onboarding. So building a version of Lighthouse is perfectly fine, and we need more of those facing specific verticals or use cases. The second one is a stablecoin payments for paid storage deals. This is because we see a demand from storage providers to not only receive fill from fulfilling their service, but they also want to receive stablecoin payments there. And that has been the challenge on Filecoin. So we hope to see some good ideas on solving this. And also, we not only solving this technically, but we are expecting a kind of viable business plan for this as well. So think about how you're going to adopt this tool. Of course, any AI related tools, we will highly encourage. This fits in Filecoin's narrative right now very well. And also, if you're a ZK developer, ZKP developer, feel free to combine zero knowledge proofs or privacy related tools with Filecoin. So that's all of my presentation. I do have some files to share. Some sites that I can share with you. So, for example, this is the convenient kind of a API that that Lighthouse has made for making a storage deal. If you don't want the control of how many copies and which storage provider you want to send to, you can just use upload, which they will take care of the rest. Otherwise, if you would like to specify, like, for example, number of copies, or in the testnet specify a miner ID, you can do that over there. And I really highly recommend the FVM local net example here that is made by Matt to spin up a Lotus and Boost node if you would like to understand exactly how Filecoin storage takes the deal and how that process goes through. For preparing the metadata for making a deal, you can use Lighthouse Storage's a data prepper tool called Data Depot. Once you upload a file, you will get all of the different parameters really easily for your smart contract, which is required for the deal client. Now, there is an issue with deal client right now that I'm trying to solve, which is when you're trying to deploy to calibration net, it seems that all the RPC endpoints returns an error to you. So I'm investigating that and trying to get that solved. But if you use FVM local nav tested this, you can deploy to your local machine really easily and interact with it through either Foundry or Hard Hat. So yeah, that's any questions. That's all I'm going to show.
Yeah, there were a few questions. One of the first questions was, where can I find the boost?
Oh, a boost. Yeah, if you search Filecoin boost, you'll be able to find a GitHub repository to install boost. Yeah, so actually it's right here. I click on here, boost.filecoin.io. So installing Boost or Lotus, so if your machine is not set up properly, you might run into a lot of environment issues. So that's why I find that this Docker project really really easy to work with. You just wait for 10 minutes and you're up, and you can visit your local host 8080 and 8081 for you can run multiple instances of your miners and interact with it. So yeah, that's pretty good. I'll see if I have that available here. Actually, let me see if it is running because it was running earlier. Oh yeah, so I still have my bootstrap. So that's how easy it is. Only took me 15 minutes to get it working. Any other questions?
Yeah, is there a just buy demo?
Oh no, yeah, not yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah, so I'll get that done soon. Ben.
And then the other question is there the option to select geographic region for the storage?
Yeah. So short answer is no. There's a project going on to work out the geological data. It's really up to the storage provider to reveal their location if they want to. Previously, there are two projects to find the triangulated location of storage providers using some ways to defraud IP hopping, because you can pretend you're in a different area in an anonymous network. But these databases are no longer maintained. I will look into that and then see if there is any good data sources to pick locations for storage providers. But for now, what we observe is most of the data clients that is serious about making storage deals and has really requirements on geological regions for compliance reasons. They will work with storage providers that they know and trust, which is usually a local entity that they deal with. So they will do their own kind of a KYC for it before they send the data over.
Nice. And
Yeah.
yeah, are there any other questions?
So I'd like to show you Fox, which is a scanner we have, most popular block scanner for Filecoin. Over there, you can see a list of storage providers and their rewards. And feel free to use the the structure, URL structure here to link your proofs. If I go to Lighthouse Storage and log in, one of the things that it does for for each deals that's been made is the proof of storage messages is in the UI, and also you can get it from their APIs too, or SDK. Is the continuous proof that the storage provider is sending to the network to prove that they still have the file. So that is something, if you want to show that the proof of storage or the file or deal is on Filecoin, do that in your front-end interface, or use that as a proof, because that's essentially what the core value proposition for Filecoin is.
Awesome. Cheers. Thanks, Jenks. And yeah, I think that's all the questions we have. So thanks again for the great workshop presentation. Thank you everybody else for attending. This was the last workshop for the day. So hopefully everybody's going well with the projects. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.